What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/AmITheButthole. Alright, this story's called, Am I the Butthole for offering to hire a caterer/planner for a fancy dinner party instead of planning it all myself? Okay, I've been married to my wife for almost 15 years. A few years back, we went through a rough patch. I was working long weeks trying to move up in my field, and we made the joint decision for her to be a stay-at-home mom. And though I was working 6 days a week, I tried to give my wife as much free time as possible. Still, things were rocky, and after 18-ish months, she started saying she wanted to be more social. We moved out of the country a little before we had our twins, so it was understandable. Being dumb, I decided to surprise her with a dinner party. I invited some guys from work and their wives over, all without, considering that someone would have to host this dinner party and that someone would end up being my wife. Don't worry, I accepted the responsibility of being dumb. Nevertheless, my wonderful wife did put together a lovely dinner party and discovered a love for planning events. A few months after, she decided to go back to school for hospitality so that she could be an event coordinator. We arranged for part-time care of our girls, and after graduating, she found a job in her field. 5 years later, she's moved to another company and is currently up for a promotion and has been schmoozing her bosses and high-level clients, and she wants to have a party at our new home. Here's where I might be the butthole. Since I've been working so many fewer hours in the last 2-ish years, I'm home earlier than my wife is, and a lot of my work can be done remotely. So she would like me to handle planning and set up for the dinner. I'm fine with this. However, I am not good at planning events. I'm the guy who hires someone like my wife to plan parties for them. I'm happy to hire a caterer and someone who can put some tablecloths and random vases of flowers around to make the place look nice, but I don't have an eye for those kinds of things myself. After offering this, my wife acted like I'd just shown Nanny Ruth the family jewels, saying how horrible it would look if I hired her company's competitor to come host a party at her house, that I had to do it myself. I was a little miffed, but the girls were in the living room in earshot, so I told her, alright, well then I'd need her to at least give me a checklist of things to do. Well, that turned into how I clearly don't respect her or her profession. I've always looked down on her for not being as smart, how I don't pay attention to her job, or I'd know what went into planning a party and I'd be able to handle a simple dinner event. I honestly had no idea what sort of minefield I had just walked myself into. I was at a loss, so I herded my girls upstairs so I could try to talk to my wife. But it's been 45 minutes and she's still on FaceTime with her sisters after not wanting to talk. I don't think I've ever done or said anything to make my wife think that I look down on her job. I try to be as supportive as I can, but maybe she's right and I'm not doing enough. Guys, give it to me straight. If I'm really being the butthole, please tell me so I can go grovel at my wife's feet. Edited to add, I hope this is allowed. Because people keep saying this, I truly had not considered what I suggested to be a bad look on her, because I wasn't exactly suggesting her direct competitor. Wifey works at one of those companies that does everything. They have in-house bakers, caterers, planners, a band, florists, etc. I was only planning to hire a restaurant to cater food and maybe someone to help me decorate. I'm already planning to apologize profusely. This is a weird one. Well, the verdict on here is that he's the butthole, but I don't know, he's trying really hard here. I get where she's coming from, about hiring a competitor, but this isn't something he's good at. This is something she's good at. And if she's trying to impress professional, event coordinators or whatever, then why would she want someone who doesn't know what they're doing to do it? I mean, she's stressed, obviously, so that's why she's kind of getting snippy with him, but yeesh. She's getting mad at him for not knowing how to do something that he's never had any need to know to do, right? That didn't make sense. I hope it did. It did enough. Alright, this story's called Update 2, Am I the Butthole for offering to hire a caterer planner to host a fancy dinner party instead of doing it myself? So, since I last posted, I've had a chance to talk to my wife, and I have a game plan in place. I followed your advice, and the first morning after our argument and after our girls went to school, I did sit down and apologize to my wife. I told her I was so sorry to have made her feel like I wasn't being supporting enough. I cleared up the suggestion of hiring the competition and explained what I meant more clearly. I also gave her the floor and asked if she could tell me why she'd been so upset. If it was just because of the suggesting a competitor thing, or if there was something else going on that she could talk to me about anything. She has another coworker, whom I will nickname Kayla, who is also up for the same promotion and only one of them will get it. The day of our argument, Kayla had snuck in her fiancé to set up a big brunch lunch thing for the office. Of course, my wife is stressed and she's been working very hard for this promotion, so her thought process was that I needed to step up and do the same as Kayla's fiancé did. However, I pointed out that we knew Kayla and knew her fiancé, and he is the main manager in charge of running a large-ish hotel in our city. Part of his job is also managing events that they have at the hotel, which happen often because the hotel is gorgeous and the perfect backdrop for weddings, conferences, fundraising dinners, etc. It clicked in her mind that my skill levels were not on par with Kayla's fiancé. We talked and I made us something to eat and then drove her to the office, even walked her inside and carried her coffee for her. I got to meet a few new faces and my wife also introduced me to the newest member of her team who is still learning the ropes. With my wife's prior approval, I asked the new team member if he'd be willing to let me hire him just as a consultant on a dinner party. I need a little help with the color schemes and flowers as I'm red-green colorblind. You all were right about the communication being lacking and how I was being insensitive about suggesting a competitor, even if it wasn't exactly my intention, circling back to communication. I also severely underestimated myself and my abilities and was writing it off as something I just couldn't do rather than a puzzle to work out with some effort. So yeah, it ended up just being my stupidity and lack of clear communication with my wife, and partially a little over expectations for my wife, but with me as much as she's been working and as stressed as she's been, it's completely forgivable. I just wanted to update you all and thank you for helping me see that I was way underestimating myself. I thought I was supporting my wife in every way I could, but I was failing in the way she needed me and the way it counted. We've rectified the situation and I'm now confident that I can pull this dinner party off, with a little help here or there from my consultants and Pinterest. Thank you so much. Hey, there we go. You just had to talk to each other and it's all worked out. Good stuff. Alright, this story's called, Am I the Butthole for Always Wanting the Bottom Bunk? Okay, so throwaway account because this is a bit embarrassing. I, female 19, share a room with my younger sister, female 18. Because the room is relatively small, we share a bunk bed. We're pretty used to this arrangement, as we've had it since we were 13 and 14 respectively. I guess it would be 14 and 13 respectively, come on. And had an arrangement where we would swap the top bunk between us every month. The issue is, since we were 13 and 14, both of us have gained a lot of weight, so getting into the top bunk is difficult. It's especially difficult for me as I'm considerably heavier, to the point where I physically can't make it to the top bunk without exhausting myself totally, and climbing down is a pretty harrowing experience. As a result, I told my sister that I wanted the bottom bunk indefinitely until I can get my weight back down to a level I can climb up there without worrying I'm going to break it or myself. Obviously, losing weight can be quite a long, slow process, especially when previously you've had a lifestyle as unhealthy as mine, but this has been a real wake-up call for me. She said it's not a fair arrangement because she struggles climbing up as well, but it's totally not the same. She's slimmer than me, more physically fit, and I think a fair bit stronger. I don't doubt it's difficult, but I've never seen her as totally winded as I am after climbing up, or heard the bed creak like it does with me on it. I said it's non-negotiable and I'm not sleeping in the top bunk until I've lost around 30 pounds. She's called me selfish and unsympathetic, and it's my fault for getting so out of shape. We haven't spoken, aside from in really stilted terms, since we first had that conversation. I know it's petty, but am I the butthole? On one hand, I hate putting her in a difficult situation, but on the other hand, I don't think it's as dangerous for her as it is for me, and I really don't think I fit on the couch. Also, it's really difficult talking about my weight in difficult terms, so please stow your comments about that. I know it's unhealthy, I know I shouldn't have let it get to this point, but I'm trying to work on it, and I don't need Reddit to tell me what I already know. This is a weird one. Honestly, like, I would say you're the butthole, but like, if this is like a safety thing, then I really think your sister should be a little nicer about this. But you do need to, like, you know, you actually got to work on your weight and not just be like, oh, I'm working on it, but not be, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Alright, this story's called Update! Am I the butthole for always wanting the bottom bunk? Okay, so a while ago I posted this. I got told pretty decisively that I was the butthole, which was hard to take, but looking back on it was right. Posting was one of the most humiliating things I've ever done, and I was just super depressed at the time due to various things, so maybe my judgment was off. Anyway, after beefing with my sister for a couple of days, I apologized to her and agreed to sleep on the floor. Genuinely a low point in my life, being too fat to climb into bed. But luckily, that was as low as things got. After a few nights on the floor, I started trying to eat right and take some gentle exercise, then moved on to more regular intense exercise. And I'm happy to say that in the 3 months since I posted, I've lost almost 50 pounds. I'm still overweight, but I'm no longer obese and can now climb into the bunk bed without getting winded or worrying I'm going to crush someone. My sister has also started losing weight, so who has the top bunk is getting less of an issue. But damn, it feels good. I'm moving out in a few months, and I promise I'm going to do it as a woman who can sleep in any top bunk she has to. Yo, it's badass. Well, I'm glad OP took responsibility and, you know, did what needed to be done. Alright, this story's called, Would I Be the Butthole for Not Telling My Mom That My Stepmom Is Adopting Me? Sorry, I'm on mobile. So I, 24 female, do not have a good relationship with my biological mom. Our relationship is tolerable due to her living a couple of states away and us only talking once or twice a month. I have a very good relationship with my dad, and we are extremely close as a result. My dad will be officially marrying my stepmom before this year ends, but she's been in my life since I was 13, 14. She's always been like a mother to me, even when she and my dad weren't together anymore. They were broken up for a few years and got back together almost 3 years ago. And I view her as my mom, her daughters as my sisters, etc. I want to honor her as my mom, and she's more than happy to adopt me, so we'll be moving forward with the process soon. I don't plan to tell my bio mom beforehand because I kinda don't want to deal with it. I would, however, make the announcement via social media once everything is official, and my biological mom would be finding out that way. Where I live, the bio parents don't have anything to do with the process once it's an adult adoption, so would I be the butthole if I say nothing to my mom, or bio mom, beforehand, and just let her find out about my adoption via social media? Edit. Thank you for all the comments and judgments. I read and took into consideration each and every one of them. While the general consensus seems to be that I wouldn't be in the wrong to not say anything, I've decided to give my bio mom a heads up prior to posting the news on social media. I'm gonna wait till everything is official to tell her, and I will post an update at that time. Update 1. So we finally started moving forward with the adoption process. We filed the petition for an adult adoption and paid the filing fee. I got my consent letter notarized today. There's just a few more papers to do later. Stepmom and dad are super happy and excited about it, especially since they're going to be officially married in a few months. My dad had a stroke due to that which shall not be named, so the wedding got pushed back. The average turnaround time to be completely finalized is supposed to be 60 to 90 days. I'm hoping that is still the case despite the current circumstances of the world. I still haven't said anything to my bio mom yet. I'm waiting till everything is official. It's not much of an update, but it's something for everyone that cared enough to comment last time. That is so sweet, and I don't think you're the butthole here, and you're being nice by letting her know it all, I guess, given that she's not in your life kind of at all, but you know, yeah. Alright, this story is Update. Would I be the butthole for not telling my mom that my stepmom is adopting me? Background summary. My stepmom and I, 25 female, decided to go through with an adult adoption. I was torn about it if I should tell my bio mom about the adoption or not. Bio parents aren't required to be notified for adult adoptions in my state. So the adoption hearing was this past Thursday. It was meant to be last month, but got pushed back due to the freak snowstorm we had. It was online through Zoom, and it only took 10 to 15 minutes minutes speaking to the judge and getting the paper signed. After that was done, I called my bio mom and spoke with her about our relationship before finally telling her about the adoption. I told her that my decision wasn't meant to be malicious or hurt her in any way, that it was something that would make me happy and that it didn't mean we couldn't still have a relationship. She took the news pretty well and said that she'd always love me and be my mom regardless of what a piece of paper says. The call ended on a good note, and I'm hoping that things will stay that way. My parents and I, along with my significant other and son, then had a yummy celebratory breakfast and an overall great day. We didn't post about the adoption on social media until a few hours after my bio mom and I had our conversation, but we did get an outpouring of love from friends and family once we shared the news. I know I originally anticipated this update being filled with lots of drama, but I'm happy to have been wrong, it seems. Edited to add, since some users thought this should be included, before telling her about the adoption, I did discuss with her my hesitation at letting her have a relationship with my son during our conversation regarding our relationship. I did also make it clear that if my rules and boundaries regarding me and my child weren't followed, she wouldn't be in his life. Edit 2. Thank you to everyone for the kind words, support, and awards. It truly means a lot. This is a sweet story. Pretty good ending. I dig it.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.